Hey, mamas, and thanks for coming back to Between Us Moms for another 30-minute episode. We are so excited and so grateful that you're here with us. I think we should dive right into our cliff notes. Hallie, what do you have for us?
Have you watched Baby Reindeer on Netflix and or Under the Bridge on Hulu?
We have watched Baby Reindeer, and Under the Bridge is on our to watch list.
Okay, if you guys at home are listening and you have not watched yet, one sentence synopsis. Both shows are based on true stories. First one, Baby Reindeer, is about a comedian who was stalked pretty heavily, suffered with drugs, sexual assault. It's very dark, based on a true story. Under the Bridge is about a girl who I won't ruin it, but goes missing, may or may not be murdered. It's a whole thing, also based on a true story. I have now decided I can no longer watch shows that are dark. As a mother, it hits me different. It stays with me. Like I was up until 4 in the morning last night after finishing Baby Reindeer, just feeling like I brought my baby girl into a very fucked up world. And it is like I'm losing sleep over it. I can't do it anymore.
It's funny you say that because I remember after we finished Baby Reindeer, we talked about it, like it resonated with us, and we felt so sad.
So
And we
sad.
just kept talking about it. And then I was like, I need to go and see what the people on the internet are saying. And he was like, read me what they're saying. And we had all these conversations. And yeah, it's a dark, dark world out there. And there's a lot of sad, twisted, sick people out there. And as a mom, you're just so much more in tune with that reality.
Right. And like in Baby Reindeer, this comedian has really lovely, accepting, wonderful parents. And I'm like,
Yeah.
even having good parents doesn't spare you the pain of this world. And I was like, not to kick us off on such a negative note, but I was like, holy shit, like I cannot watch this stuff anymore. I just can't do it. Can't watch Dateline, can't watch anything that isn't a romantic comedy. So I am a one trick pony now. I will only be tuning in to light and airy, cheerful, funny content. And that is my choice. So
Did you watch The Idea of You yet?
I did, and I loved it. Did you
Okay,
like
good.
it?
Yeah, I loved it. It was as cheesy as I wanted it to be, but I actually really thought the acting was good. I love Anne Hathaway.
It was
And I
great.
cried. Like, who am I? I even looked at Jason and he was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't know. Is this like hormones? Am I really sad?" But when she was telling him about the husband and being at the business dinner, and I don't want to give anything like too much away, but
Mhm.
that conversation really had me in my feels.
It was, I mean, brilliant. I went into it thinking, okay, I'm gonna be embarrassed I watched this. Like it was
Yeah,
like before I watched it, I was like, this is gonna give 50 Shades of Grey. It's gonna give, really
totally.
cheesy romance. And it wasn't like I don't know how they pulled it off, but somehow it was like not that cheesy and so good. And also it was like giving me what if. And I feel like we all need a little more like in our entertainment, just like the what if, the belief that like something brilliant, wonderful could happen at any given moment. And I loved it. I just loved it so much.
Yeah, I did
Also,
too. Oh, yeah.
the sex was so sexy.
There was a lot of sex scenes too.
And Anne Hathaway was like sexy.
Yeah,
She
I fully
normally
believed in
isn't.
their relationship.
Oh, me
I
too.
was
I was like,
rooting for them.
me too. I was like, I love this art
Yeah.
dealer mother and this pop star boy bander, romance. It was so good. And I know we talked about it on the podcast last week. So if you didn't listen, go back and listen because there was a lot of headlines about like Anne Hathaway being too hot to play this role. But I actually thought it was perfect.
And do you know what? So I actually had a conversation with Jason about that afterwards, and he was really mad about the headline for a different reason than we were, which I
Why
thought
was
was
he
so
upset?
interesting. He was like, "So they're saying you can't be like a hot mom at 40?"
But Jason, yes.
Right?
What a
Right?
feminist.
I
Yeah.
know. He was like, "Why can't you?" He's like, "I think you are, and I'm not even 40 yet." And I got mad at him. I was like, sir, a couple of years till 40." He's like, "But you know what I mean. You could be a
Yeah.
hot mom." I was like,
Yes.
"Okay,
Exactly. Why do we have
thanks."
to be homely and a mess? No.
I
We can have our shit together. Which reminded me, I do have to say, I actually was thinking about our guest on the podcast, Christina Best,
Hmm.
on MILF Manor, because her whole thing was like, you can be a sexy hot mom.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Here it is, that theme coming up again. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's really where I'm at. It's just I need more content like that in my life and less Under the Bridge, less Baby Reindeer,
Mm.
you know. I
Yeah.
used to be able to watch all that as a mom. I just can't do it anymore.
Then maybe don't watch Sugar, which I recommended because it is also about a missing girl.
No.
There's trafficking. Yeah, it's
No,
God, the world is so dark.
it's so dark. And
There's
I
so
remember
many
when I was
sickos. I just hate it
I
pisses me
know.
off.
And when I was pregnant with Dylan, I remember everyone being like, "You should really watch Euphoria." And I was like, "Should I?" Like, I feel like I
Mm,
definitely shouldn't because isn't that all about like high schoolers engaging
yeah.
in really savory behavior? Like, no
That's
thanks.
a
I'm
whole
good.
other world. Like there's
Yeah.
like murder and trafficking and then there's like drugs and sex and yeah,
Yeah, there's not enough
so
Lexapro
much.
in the world to deal with my anxiety about all that. So, protecting my peace,
Yeah.
curating my television to be Bluey, Miss Rachel,
Yes.
Toy Story, and, romantic comedies. Anyway, what's
Love
up with
that.
you this week?
It's been a rough week over here, I'm not gonna lie. My daughter, so remember I went from, "Oh, my daughter's never been sick," to, "Oh, she had her first sickness."
You
Well,
really
she
jinxed.
I really, really jinxed it.
Mm,
That was the universe just, like, laughing in my face fully.
yeah.
My daughter has hand, foot, and mouth.
No.
It is awful. We are on the upswing, but let me tell you, it started on Thursday, and she woke up from her nap. She was like really, really fussy. She first of all took like a longer nap than normal. She was really fussy. I was like, let me take her temperature. She kind of felt hot. It was a 102.7 or something like that. And
Mhm.
I was like, "Ugh, okay, need to give Tylenol immediately." But then when I gave her the Tylenol, she like wouldn't swallow it. And I was like, oh my God. But I think she got a little bit because I retested the temperature. It went down, but then it spiked again, 103.1. I
Oh.
called the pediatrician immediately. I was like, "I need to come in. My daughter has a fever. I don't know what's going on. She's fussy." Just, I was like a chaotic, sad, frantic mother. And they close at 5 and this was like 4:15 or something. And they were like, "We only have an appointment at our XYZ location, which isn't our normal location." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Is there any way her pediatrician could see her at our location? Could you like send a message?" And we have a good relationship with him. And I just felt in my gut, we've seen other doctors there and they're all great, but I just really like ours. And this felt like a really serious situation. I was just going with my gut and I was like, I'll head out that way right now. But if so, I'll turn around and come back and go to the one closer. Anyways. So he was like, "I'm gonna stay late, bring her in."
Oh.
So we go in. Her fever has come down. It's still like at a 101 point something. And she's fussy in there. As soon as I got her out of the car, actually, she puked all over me.
Nice.
So I went into the pediatrician's office with puke all over us. I didn't have time to grab her diaper bag which usually has a change of clothes and wipes and stuff in it because I was just thinking need to get her to the doctor immediately, ASAP stat.
Right.
So they were so nice. They're like wiping us off with wipes in there. And it turns out she had little blisters on the back of her throat. And the pediatrician knew immediately. He's like, "I think what she has is the beginning of hand, foot, and mouth. This is just the mouth portion. It may or may not mean that she's going to get the hand and foot portion. It could just be this. We don't know yet." Ran some tests to like confirm his suspicions and got those results later that night. It was true. It was a rough night. Poor girl, just like up all night. We're trying to administer Motrin every 6 hours to help alleviate the pain and to keep the fever down. And then in between that, you can do Tylenol every 4 hours. But the swallowing of the medicine, I think, was just hurting her. And so we're trying to get creative with, do we put it on a little spoon for her to like slurp up? It was just horrible.
Oh,
Now we are, gosh, it's Monday. This is going to air on Tuesday. We're at the phase now where the blisters have started. They're on her hands. They're like gnarly. Like they're not small little dainty dots. There's like some really giant ones in there. And her legs have little, like tiny little bumps all over them.
oh.
And I'm also pregnant.
Yeah.
And it it's just horrible. It's
Yeah.
horrible over here. So we're figuring, life out.
Mhm.
Jason was such a help this weekend, and thank God so far neither of us have gotten it, so we're able to like really take care of her and knock on
Knocking on
wood.
wood over here.
I can't even I probably just jinxed it. Ugh. Anyways, it's been really rough and it's just so hard to see your baby so sick. And
Between
there's
the
so
2 of
little you
us,
can do. I know, we're just petri
oh,
dishes.
you guys, I swear, this won't be every episode, but we're getting hit hard.
I feel like we are just ping pong, back and
Yeah.
forth sicknesses. I mean, the stomach flu that you guys had was horrific.
Disgusting. Yeah.
The hand, foot, and mouth that now we have is awful.
Brutal.
It's just not fun. And I wish that there was more you could do in these circumstances, but for viruses, there's so little that you can do
I
except for
know.
just wait it out. And you can't explain to your daughter who's, not even 11 months old yet, we have to wait it out.
Yeah.
You have to just, uh, take care of her the best you can and make sure she's getting those fluids. And when I tell you I was spoon feeding her a mixture of Pedialyte and water because she wouldn't drink anything out of a bottle because I think the sucking was hurting her.
Mm.
It's really just been,
So if you have any tips for Katie, go to our Facebook group. Our Facebook group has been so great between us
yeah.
moms, and just slide in there with some tips for Katie because I know hand, foot, and mouth is kind of like a rite of passage. My nephew had it. All my girlfriends have talked about it, but there's got to be something you can do. So let
I
us
know.
know over there and
And
join that community.
please do. Also, do you know it's not, I thought it was like the chicken pox where you get it once and it's done. No, you can keep getting it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Ugh,
I know.
ugh, it just makes me want to cry and sink into the ground all at the same time.
Yeah. My sister lost her fingernail from it.
Oh,
I know I didn't want to tell you that earlier, but that's a possibility. So you have that to look forward to.
oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know the last time I even got my nails done, as you can see.
Listen,
It just,
Mother's Day's around the corner. Maybe you can get that mani pedi in.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully
you
I'm
deserve
not,
it.
on a deathbed. Okay, should we transition to the tea? Maybe a little more,
Lighthearted.
less depressing.
Yeah, I think that might be good, right? Let's talk about Ava Mendez. She is married to our boyfriend, Ryan Gosling, and she's talking about starting her family later in life. She didn't have kids till she was in her 40s. The two of them share two daughters. One is 8, one is 9. And she's previously, they're really private. We've talked about that on this podcast before, but she's previously, very recently, opened up about her decision to kind of pause her acting career and stay home and be with the kids. And now, in an interview with People, she's talking about why she's happy she didn't become a mom until her 40s. And she says, quote, "When I was 40, it was a big deal for people when I was pregnant, and it wasn't for me. And then I was 42 and I was pregnant with my second one. And people were like, oh my God, you're going to be so tired. That's why people have kids in their 20s. I was like, that's the most sorry, asinine thing I've ever heard. It takes more patience. In my 20s, I shouldn't have been around a child. I was just foul mouthed and smoking. I could not have raised kids in any other era of my life, but now for sure." And she also defends her choice to focus on motherhood and her family rather than her acting career, saying it was the easiest decision that she's ever made. And she said, "I was older and I knew that my kids are going to be little once, and whatever I do or don't do right now is going to affect them for the rest of their life. Your career comes and goes, but kids, yeah, that was easy for me. They're just formative years. I wanted to be there for all of it." I love this so much. Katie, you and I were mid 30s when we started our families. I'm going to be 40 in September. I'm having a baby at the end of the month, so I really feel this deeply. Do you think you could have been a mom earlier in life?
No. I think listen, I think for the people who were ready for motherhood in their 20s, I applaud them because that's so hard too. I think either way you look at it, it's challenging.
Yeah.
But I think for me especially, I really focused on my career. Like that was really the biggest thing in my life was career, career, career. And I worked tirelessly and so hard at it for over a decade. And I think I wouldn't have been emotionally ready to be a mom. And also, I didn't meet my person until I was in my 30s. Like, I can't even imagine bringing a child into this world with anyone other than Jason.
Right.
I feel like that was just meant to be, my story. And I feel like the same for her. Like, maybe she and Ryan didn't meet until they met on that one movie, right? The
Yeah,
Between the Pines or the
yep,
Pines or
in
something.
2011. So they've been
Yeah.
together a long time.
A while. So maybe they just, this was their journey. Like they wanted to have kids a little bit later and good for them. And I think we have to remember when I think about all the people who were, judgmental, like, oh, it's going to be so hard and you're going to be so tired. Who freaking cares? It's going to be exhausting either way you cut it. It's hard to have a baby. It
100%.
just is. It's a challenge. And so when I hear people like, naysaying that or trying to be negative about that, and people do it to me all the time. I literally got stopped in the Target um, supermarket. I literally got stopped in Target a few days ago, and a mom was like, "Wow," she could see I was pregnant, and then I had Kaya with me, and she was like, "So how far apart are they gonna be?" And I was like, "Well, they're gonna be around 14 or 15, probably 14 months apart." And she's like, "You know what?" I thought she was gonna say something negative. She was like, "I have 4 under 3."
Wow.
Yeah,
Modern day
twins.
hero.
Yeah, and so people do it, and they do it all the time, and we have to remind ourselves of that, and I'm so grateful that she is speaking out. Like we said, she's very private, but I feel like she's shining such an important light, and I think the more people that do choose to have children later, good for them.
Yeah.
Who are we to say that that's a bad thing or spread negativity on their sunshine?
Right. And I think it's important to remember children are the greatest blessing. Starting a family is the best thing I've ever done. But would I be doing a disservice to a child to start a family when I'm not a fully formed adult? When I
Right.
am not a fully, when I haven't experienced life, when I haven't done all the things to be the best person I can be. And that journey never stops for self-improvement, but like to be the best mother, I think I had to experience a lot of the things that I did in my 20s and 30s. And I'm a more empathetic, sympathetic, loving, kind, nurturing person because I've gone through things and matured. And in my 20s, like we're all kind of selfish in our 20s.
Yeah.
And I think, do you have I mean, again, I see women in their 20s having kids and crushing it. So I'm here cheering you on. I'll speak for myself. I was in New York City, in LA, wanting to just live a young person's life. And I
Yeah.
wasn't ready to be a mom. I was with Andrew, but we were not near ready until we actually started. And like you, I prioritized my career, and I'm glad I did because I achieved so much. I never have to question what if. Like
Right.
you and I won Emmys. We have been featured on broadcast television. We are, standouts in our industry. But now I can kind of step back and feel like I did that. I achieved that. And whatever I get on top of that is icing on the cake. And now I can really be there for my family and do this season of life fully and have no regrets about it. So, I love this. I think whenever you start a family, just be ready for it because it's the most important thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, and if it's later in life, there's nothing wrong with that because we
No.
are proof of that.
Right. I will say though, this pregnancy is harder. So I
Oh,
know what
yeah.
she's saying. You're right. Pregnancy is tiring and exhausting no matter what, and being a mom is exhausting no matter what. But I do think there is something to being young and having a lot of energy and doing it. There is something
I
to
do
that.
agree.
But we
Yeah.
don't need to put that on someone who decided to start a family later in life. Like the things people decide it's okay to say.
I know.
Ugh. We should do a
Ugh.
whole show about what not to say to pregnant people. I've experienced quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Not to say to pregnant people or what not to say to women.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Jessie James Decker. She is talking about her postpartum body struggles after welcoming her fourth baby. I feel like we've been talking about postpartum a lot, but that's only because I think it resonates so much and with so many people. And it's so nice to see these women with bigger platforms talking about their struggles because it
Yeah.
makes me feel like, wow, this person who's like a bazillionaire and has it all together is feeling the exact same things that I have felt. And
Yep.
it's so nice to really, I guess, showcase that. Is that, yeah,
Yeah. Or just to feel like if they have all the resources in the world and they feel it, and of course I'm going to feel that way too. So it's like
yeah,
just it destigmatizes, it normalizes.
normalizes. There we go. Yes. So her and her husband Eric welcomed their fourth child, a son named Denver, in early February. And she posted a picture in a bikini on Instagram a few days ago and said, quote, "I'll be honest, I really didn't want to post any of these kittenish swim photos because I weigh 30 pounds more right now than I did last year this time. Yes, I know I just had a baby 3 months ago, but it's easy to compare on here and wonder why my body likes to hold on to it more than others." She then said the pressure we put on ourselves is not realistic. So this is a reminder to myself and to you, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace. And then she ended her post saying, "You're doing great and you got this, girl. We're in this together." And I think we talked about Halle Bailey recently and her struggles with postpartum depression. And
Hmm.
this is postpartum, like just your body in general and your feeling towards it. Because, yeah, your body does change so much after you have grown an entire being inside of you. And I really applaud her for writing this, sharing this. I felt like this 3 months postpartum. I think I still had like quite a lot of LBs on me because I was still breastfeeding at that time. And she actually mentioned, she was like, for some people that are breastfeeding, their body holds on to all that fat because you need it to make the milk.
Yeah.
And for some people, they lose it while they're breastfeeding. It's just different. We all have different bodies. And anyways, I related to this so much. And when I went through all the comments, as I like to do, I like to
Yes, you
read all the
do.
comments. It was refreshing to see how many people were commenting, encouraging things.
I was just going to say, this is the big mom energy that we need on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
She is saying, I see you, I applaud you, I'm with you. And I also read the comments because now you've got me going on the comments.
I know.
And I saw it was a lot of people just cheering her on. And I think as women, it's why we started this podcast because we want more positive community and less negativity, less pitting one another against each other, and just like really loving and leaning on each other. And so I too applaud her. I would love to have her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's put that energy out there because I just think she's great. And I love this vibe. This is the vibe we need on the interwebs.
Right. Also, she's had 4
I
children.
know. She
She
looks
has
fire.
carried she is incredible. I bow down. You and me, we're on baby number 2. They're cooking inside of us. The thought of doing this 2 more times
Nope.
after this one, I I can't. I couldn't.
Veto,
Truly could not.
unsubscribe. Can't do it. She is my hero,
Yeah.
truly, sincerely. And she looks incredible. And she's funny. And she seems like a wonderful mom. Like, yes, we are
Snaps.
part of the fan club. Love, love, love.
Speaking of pregnancy weight, my wedding ring and my wedding band no longer fit my fingers because I tend to hold like fluid in my hands
Oh.
and my feet, like they swell when I'm pregnant.
Uh-huh.
And so we're on to this little plastic.
After going to LA every single week this last month, my feet look like troll feet.
It's
I looked out at them and I was so disturbed. I was like, is this nor they look like balloon animals.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
mine as well. I have PTSD from being in the hospital and that happening
Oh
too. Like
yeah.
I thought my feet were gonna fully just like explode
First.
open
Me
in the
too.
hospital when I was ready to give birth
Yeah,
because
because all the fluids and stuff from the
mm,
IVs, I know.
ah,
Yeah, and from
I'm not
that
ready for it.
I know, same.
Sorry.
From that OMG to another, this is so interesting. A lawyer mom is making headlines after she said that she never signs a child liability waiver and that neither should we. Okay, so if your kid goes to like a trampoline park or they go on a field trip, you have to sign this paperwork that's like a child liability waiver that's basically just saying like the company is absolved of responsibility if your child experiences quote severe bodily injury or death. And it's like, yeah, hand that over, let me sign that real quick. No, like I always feel like, are we going to die here? Like, is this an actual threat? So, Shannon Schott, who's a criminal defense and personal injury attorney in Florida, posted this TikTok video that's cautioning parents to think twice before signing. My initial thought was like, you have to sign these things or else your kid can't participate.
Can't go. Yeah.
Right. But she says she has a few workarounds. One, she says a lot of times people aren't paying attention and she just doesn't sign. They'll be like, yeah, you have to sign the online waiver. And she's like, okay, cool, 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 cool. I'll sign it. And then she just never does. So that's one, sneaky, sneaky. And then she explained that if, you're presented a written waiver for like a field trip or something, you can cross out the language that waives your child's rights and write decline before you sign the form. And then she says if they just won't let her kid participate, she comes up with something else that's fun as an alternative. But she says, quote, if something happens to your child and you go to an attorney and you ask for help, you do not want them to tell you that there's nothing they can do. So, OMG, she's a genius. I never even thought about this, but I love it.
Yeah. I think ugh, there's so many things to think here because you want your child to be able to participate in all the things, but your child's safety ultimately comes first. And if you read the fine print and it says they're not responsible if there's like bodily harm or there's death, why would any parent sign that? Why is that language even in there?
Right.
Why are we taking kids somewhere where potentially they could die? And are you saying that your staff isn't competent enough to prevent that from happening? I'm sure that's, like extreme cases and that's just to really protect the institution. But I'm with her. I don't think I would just not sign it because I think they ask you to sign it and I want to be like a rule follower in
I
my
know.
gut of guts. But I do think, yeah, cross out the things that you're not okay with. If they have an issue with it, I think you should talk to the school and be
Right.
like, what do you think could happen here?" And sort of know the the reasoning for that language to begin with. And yeah, if you don't want to sign it, don't sign it. I think so many parents these days, and we do the same thing online when we go online and we buy things. It's like, do you accept the terms and conditions? Who reads the terms and
Never.
conditions?
Literally
Never.
never once, not once.
Never. You just are like, "Yes, agree. Here, take my credit card information and deliver my IKEA shelf," or whatever it is. And I think maybe we all should be reading the fine print a little bit more.
Yeah, this has me thinking, right?
I know. I'm like, what else am I saying okay to without reading it?
But
And
ain't nobody got
yeah.
time for the fine print. Like I just never have time to read it. I'm just like, yes, food for thought.
Right. Food for thought. Yeah. So, from a lawyer we love to a mama we love, this mom on TikTok, Adriana Santiago, got a turtle sandbox from a Buy Nothing group on Facebook and transformed it. This video has 5.4 million views. She painted it from the green that it came as to like a beige and brown combo, filled it with sand and fun toys, and everyone on TikTok is giving her so much hate and calling her a sad beige mom. I feel like good for her. Who freaking cares? If she wants the turtle to be brown, let it be brown. People wrote turtles are green. Someone wrote another sad beige mom. Someone said it looked better green. So, yeah, just so much hate, so much judgment. And I feel like we're here to say, we see you, Adriana. We love you. And I don't get why people are so freaking bothered by what toys moms have. At least she went on Facebook, found this toy, made it her own, and spray
Yeah.
painted it and put toys in it. Like, good for her. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah, listen, I'm a sad beige mom too. My whole house, I bought a trampoline that is very chic from Gather for my daughter, beige. I have light wood toys. It's very Scandinavian in here. I believe being a mother can still be chic. And I don't withhold colored toys from my child, but if it's going to be displayed, I want to like looking at it. So, listen, I'm here with you. Sad Beige Moms Unite. I love you. Katie loves you. We're here on your team. And on that note, you guys, we'll let you go. But come back. We have a great guest this week. You're not going to want to miss it. And remember, motherhood is a sisterhood.